The silence before thunder. The sun hung low over the African plains, its light melting into gold dust that shimmered on the tall grass. The air was still, heavy with a silence so deep it felt sacred. Yet somewhere beyond the horizon, that silence trembled. For those who came in red coats and polished boots, this land was a mystery, wild, beautiful, and unforgiving. They called it Zululand. The year was 1879. The British Empire, vast and unchallenged, had sent its soldiers into the heart of Africa to subdue a kingdom whose spirit refused to bend. They came with rifles and cannon, discipline and pride, but the Zulu came with something else, the will of a people defending their home. Among the ranks was Private Samuel Hawthorne, a 23-year-old infantryman from Bristol. He kept a small notebook tucked beneath his uniform, filled with thoughts he could never speak aloud. "Mother, if I should fall, tell no one I feared this land. Only that I stood among men whose courage humbled my own." It would be the last letter he ever wrote before the world he knew burned beneath the African sun. Chapter 1, The March to Isandlwana. The column moved out at dawn, 3,000 strong. Boots crunched over dry earth as they followed the banners of the 24th Regiment. Ahead of them rose a mountain shaped like a lion crouched in wait, Isandlwana. The men joked, sang, and spoke of glory. The empire had faced enemies before, none had ever truly threatened its power. The officers assured them this campaign would be no different. But the land itself seemed to whisper otherwise. The Zulu kingdom was no mere tribe. It was a nation, disciplined, organized, bound by blood and by the word of their king, Setshwayo Compand. His warriors moved like shadows across the plains, silent until the moment they struck. "We have marched for days, yet I have not seen the enemy," wrote Hawthorne. "Only the vultures that circle and the distant drumming that haunts the wind. Some say it is their way, to let fear walk beside us before they ever do." When the column reached the base of Isandlwana, they set camp. Tents dotted the valley floor like pale ghosts under the African sun. The mountain loomed above them, a silent witness to what would soon unfold. Chapter 2, The First Signs. The night came soft and strange. The moon rose blood orange over the hills, and in its glow, the land looked alive. Some men claimed they saw figures moving in the tall grass, shapes that vanished when challenged. Scouts returned with uneasy faces. They spoke of large Zulu gatherings to the north, of war cries echoing through ravines. Still, the officers dismissed it. The empire had protocols, formations, and rifles. What threat could spears pose against bullets? But among the common soldiers, unease settled like dust. Hawthorne sat by the dim light of a dying fire, writing once more. "I feel as though the ground itself listens to us. The hills are not hills, they are eyes. The air smells of iron and storm. I think the Zulus are nearer than we dare to believe." By dawn, reports came that Zulu scouts had been sighted again, hundreds this time. The commander, Lord Chelmsford, made a fateful choice. He split his forces, taking half in pursuit of what he believed to be the main Zulu army. The rest, including Hawthorne's company, remained behind to guard the camp. None of them knew they were already surrounded. Chapter 3, The Battle Ignites. The morning of January 22, 1879, began with sunlight and the sound of distant thunder. Only it was not thunder. It was the beating of shields. From the hills to the east, the Zulu impi appeared, not in hundreds, but in thousands. Black shields glinted like obsidian waves as they descended the slopes, chanting in unison, the rhythm of death and defiance. "I saw them then," wrote Hawthorne, "a sea of men moving as one creature. The earth shook beneath their feet. They carried no fear. Only purpose." The British formed ranks quickly, lines of red stretching across the valley. Rifles fired in rolling volleys, tearing through the first wave. Men cheered, for a moment, believing the enemy would break. But the Zulus did not break. They adapted, flowed, and curved around the British like water seeking every weakness. Their famous horns of the buffalo formation began to close, the center engaging, the flanks sweeping wide to encircle. The air turned to smoke and screams, Hawthorne remembered. Our rifles grew hot, our ammunition boxes sealed tight by hands that fumbled with fear. Officers shouted orders no one could hear. By midday, the Zulus had breached the lines. Bayonets met spears. Men fought hand to hand in the choking dust. The empire's pride met the fury of a people defending their home, and pride began to die. Chapter 4, Trapped. The sun reached its zenith. Heat rippled across the ground like fire. The field was a storm of chaos, red coats scattered, the white tents burning. Hawthorne and a handful of men retreated toward a cluster of wagons. The Zulu advance pressed like a tide, unending. Every shot counted, every breath was borrowed time. We fought until our rifles spat dust, he wrote. I remember a boy beside me, Thomas, barely 18. He screamed for his mother as the spears closed in. I do not remember if he fell, only that his voice was swallowed by the roar. The wounded lay everywhere. The cries of the dying mingled with the war chants of the Zulu impi, echoing against the mountain stone. Some men tried to flee, but the circle had already closed. The Zulus moved with terrifying precision, ranks upon ranks, each warrior knowing his place. They showed no mercy, only resolve. It was not hatred I saw in their eyes, wrote Hawthorne. It was conviction. They fought not for conquest, but for home, and against that, no empire can truly win. When the smoke cleared, the field was a graveyard. The Union Jack still fluttered over a few broken tents, then slowly fell into the dust. Chapter 5, The Long Escape. As dusk fell, a handful of survivors broke through the encirclement, Hawthorne among them. They ran for miles through the dry grasslands, chased by the echo of drums and death. The land turned crimson in the dying light, and behind them, Isandlwana burned like a fallen sun. I ran without direction, he wrote. The earth seemed endless, each step a prayer. I had no weapon left, no courage, only the will to live. For hours, he moved through the wilderness, following the stars, drinking from muddy pools, hearing phantom cries behind him. He reached the Buffalo River by dawn. Its waters glistened black under the morning sky. On the opposite bank lay safety, natal territory. But between him and salvation, the Zulu pursued. They came again, silent at first, then shouting their fierce joy. I threw myself into the river. The current seized me, cold, merciless. Arrows hissed past my ears like insects. I prayed they would strike and end the horror. Somewhere midstream, he lost consciousness. When he awoke, the world was quiet. He lay on the far bank, covered in mud and blood, alive when so many were not. Chapter 6, The Silence After. Days passed. He was found by colonial scouts and taken to a mission station near Rorke's Drift. The battle had already become legend, the empire stunned by its loss, the Zulus exalted by their victory. Of the 1,700 men at Isandlwana, barely a few dozen survived. Hawthorne could not speak for days. His eyes carried the weight of all he had seen. I should have died with them, he whispered once. But the earth chose otherwise. Perhaps to remember. He wrote again to his mother, though he never sent the letter. They will call it defeat, but I call it truth. The Zulus fought not with hate, but with heart. We came with arrogance and maps, yet knew nothing of the land we sought to claim. I will never march beneath a sun like that again. He was sent back to England months later, his body healed but his spirit hollow. Crowds cheered him in uniform, a survivor, a symbol. But inside, he felt only the endless hum of that day, the memory of a mountain that had swallowed an army whole. Epilogue, The Mountain Remains. Years passed. The empire continued, as empires do, forgetting its wounds, polishing its medals. But in the quiet of his later life, Samuel Hawthorne still dreamed of Isandlwana. He would wake in the dark, hearing the drums. He would feel the sun upon his back, the tremor of 1,000 feet beneath the earth. "I was not brave," he once wrote in an old journal. "I was only there, a witness to pride undone, to the strength of men who fought for home." The land remembers what we forget. Some say he returned to Africa once more, to stand beneath the mountain that had spared him. Whether true or not, no one knows. But those who visit Isandlwana today, where bones once gleamed beneath the grass, speak of a stillness that is not peace, but remembrance. And when the wind passes over the plains, carrying the scent of dust and rain, it seems to whisper his name. Trapped in Zululand, the wind sighs. Yet free in memory, the soldier who survived when none should have.